Great. Thank you very much for this invitation. As per introduction, I am a human-computer interaction professor at the Knowledge Media Institute of the Open University in KMI, and today I just want to offer a perspective on the role of new technologies for public deliberation, and in particular the role that dialogue can have in improving possibly trust in media. So, oops, it's not going on. Can you switch? Okay, so this is my research group, and this is my great department. If you want to come and visit and you are interested in research, we're happy to welcome you anytime. So public deliberation, what it is. So public deliberation in research and in theoretical terms is the space for citizens and the public in general to come together to tackle complex societal challenges. So I think that events, also described very well by Andrei, show that really we do not have at the moment any both social or technical space in which public deliberation and fair democratic engagement of citizens in public discussion can take place. So current events really show that we miss the right socio-technical space for coming together as a society and really make sense of challenges, division, conflicts, and find a way forward. So really, we don't have a way to deliberate as a large scale as a society. For deliberation, as I said, we really interpret and mean the thorough assessment of the pro and con of different positions, of different ideas, of different solutions, before that any individual or collective decision is made. So when teams and people are distributed all around the world, how are we doing this as a society? Well, unfortunately, social media are the standard solution for doing this nowadays. And this happens despite scientifically, we know that this is a very inappropriate and inept way of carrying on public deliberation. And the reason for this is both technical and organizational. So first of all, technically, the space for online dialogue, like common social media that we see today, are really rudimental in the way that they structure discussion data. So you may easily realize that they really look like a list of posts in a timeline. And they really lack content. Everybody knows about the issues of lack of data quality on social media, and variety, because of a very well-known problem of platform islands, filter media bubbles, and so on. Also, these technologies are not really designed to support any form of evidence-based reasoning. So really, they are not designed for people to find sound and identify and share sound evidence on which their opinion can be informed. And there is no features that help a participant on a large debate to really make sense of what's going on. What are the main issue, the main problem arousing, who is talking, what's the relationship, dynamic of power, different social dynamic emerging. Really orienting yourself in a public debate online with social media, it's a very complex issue. And this also produced very well-known organizational problems, such as the echo chamber, the activation of biased information, homophily, polarization, conflicts, and it really degrades the quality and also the safety of the discussion that take place in this social media. So in the last 15 years, my research group has tried to tackle this problem from a really technology design So we have come out with different discussion-based collective intelligence tools. So what are these? They are basically tools that help small to large group of people to make better decisions together by talking to each other in a better, fairer, more democratic way. So today I just want to show one of these tools, which is our most recent development, which is called Because has been from the key motivation I said before, so trying to support technically with a better tool for online deliberation. And then also, in addition, it try to fight the centralization of dialogue technologies and the economic dependence that this produce from social media company. So basically, it would like to be an alternative for organization to foster small to large deliberation processes which are not centralized. So the Because app, you can access it and see the alpha version at because.app. Is basically a novel tool that aims to be equally accessible as social media, but more structured and providing a higher quality discussion than compared to common social media tool. And it also offered a decentralized open space for organizations to support online deliberation. And to do that, it offered three main innovations. First of all, low-cost argumentation structuring, the distinctive use of visual analytics, and the offer of decentralized anonymous reputation. So our first such challenge was accessibility. How do we do this tool that is pretty enough, easy enough for anyone to use? So if you go to Because, it's really looking like a very common social media tool, different topics, discussion, debate, and stored under different themes. When you drill in one of debate, the first things that you see is an automatically generated summary in a few lines that summarize basically the entire state of the debate, so that the newcomer can have like a general sense of where the community is at. Then when you go to the interaction section inside the debate, you can see there are three different sections. The central one is the contribution section. It really look like a quite common social media tool. So you have a question on the top, you can provide an answer, but then when answers are listed, you can see that pro and con argument or ideas can be added under the column under each of the argument. You will see has the normal social media feature. You can see the different icon of the different all contributed to the different positions. But you can also see that there are different interaction modality with the post that I will show you later. On the right-hand side, you can see that there is what we call a debate map. So you can use that as a structure index of the conversation. So if the conversation becomes big, you can see around the central question how many ideas came out and how many of the posts were actually arguments in favor or against a given idea. And looking at that index on the right, for example, you can focus on ideas that have been unevenly supported. For example, this one has 4 arguments against and 1 in favor, so you may want to go and explore that one. Or you may want to explore the solo idea that haven't been explored because it's one rich conversation, or you want to have a look at more ideas. So you re-explore the debates on the base of the discussion structure. On the left-hand side, you have what we call the automatic support. So you have an automatically generated synopsis, which is a longer version of what you see on the entry page. That provides a general sense of what the conversation is at. And then under that, what we call sense-making nuggets that are basically alternative entry points for people to explore the conversation from things that could be more interesting for them. For example, what is the most contested idea, or what idea there need more attention but have been neglected, and so on. As I said, instead of using the the normal +1, I love it, direct reply interaction that you can see in common social media, because you to provide a more balanced and critically assessed position. So when you click on a post, you are asked to give a general sense, like I somewhat agree or disagree, or I really agree on this. And then the interface triggers you to automatically think about the pro and con of your own opinion. So in a way, it nudges you to think that there is really a critical way to look at also what you think. And it nudges you to look at the two sides of an argument. Then the reflection button takes you to this flashcards interaction that really takes you into a more introspective interaction with the posts. So instead of looking at a direct interaction or a win-lose mechanism, it asks you to think about the post in a general sense. If it's polarized, if it can be trusted or not, if you think that an idea should be prioritized in the overall discussion. So we also help you to step back and look at the discussion in a general way, and also to think about what type of group you think you're a part of. So do you think it's mostly agreeing or disagreeing with this post or not? After that, you're going to be given, and only after you have reacted, you have access to the group feedback. So you can kind of compare and learn from this how your position differed from the one of the group, and you can either rethink or reflect better on this. The second innovation is advanced analytics. So one of the big problems of large-scale deliberation is that this conversation become large very quickly. So, and there is no way to make sense of what is happening. For example, from a social dynamic perspective, if you are in a Facebook conversation, do you have any way to know if there is a realization in this group coming out from the discussion or not? So imagine if you look at the top of these two visualizations, if in this visualization people are distributed on the basis of they mostly strongly agreeing or disagreeing with each other. So you can imagine, not in this specific case, but if all these people would be basically piled on the two sides of this Instagram, basically most of them strongly agreeing or disagreeing, you would in a second realize that this is a very polarized discussion, and there is problem of polarization in this group. And as a moderation, you could do something about it. Same things with idea. You can, in a nutshell, have a bird's eye view on the idea that have more promise because they are really supported, or the idea that actually could lead to conflict. So as a facilitator, you can also help the group to explore, for example, better the conflicted idea in order to build common ground and more proactively, effectively realize the idea that have strong agreement. So these are all the other visualizations. And then the third innovation is the decentralized infrastructure. So because offer the possibility of people to customize their anonymity level. So they can join, for example, one conversation being fully anonymous, or another one using a pseudonymous, and another one using their own name. The decentralization system basically help you to decide what specific power dynamics exist in your groups and how you want to preserve your identity in this specific public deliberation context. You also provide the possibility, if you want to decentralize entirely your discussion, and also in a way of not being dependent by any organization, not even the OU. And therefore hosting a conversation that builds on real people and is really free from bot-driven propaganda. So from testing, because in our lab experiment we have already had very good results, we have found that the automatic analysis really improved the perception of data quality that the people have participated into the debate, and also help a lot the sense making of the overall discussion, especially for newcomers. We also found that argumentation structuring actually does not reduce engagement. And this platform is easy to use and does not require any training. We also found out that argumentation structuring actually improves group cohesion and reduces conversational silos. And most importantly, we found that action enhancement, in fact, rather than appreciative only +1 feedback or I love feedback, really improve the social interaction in the group. So produce a better social interaction coverage, more reciprocity, so more people talk to more people, and produce better connected social network than common social media. So what does have everything, all of this to do with media and journalism? So many of you may be aware of the fact that media companies have increasingly shut down commenting section from their website starting roughly 2013. And the reason for that is because these commenting sites ended up being really hard to moderate and very difficult to moderate, and also hosted a lot of hate speech inside the conversation. Of course, these were the reason why publisher shut them down, but the perception from the reader of the public of this choice was really negative and really created a great damage to the public trust that citizens have in journalism. So people started to think that this was a way for journalists to control the agenda, to control the narrative, to not be considered accountable, and so on. You can read, for example, this interesting article from WNIP that really highlights what are the publishers, the damages that the publisher have received by shutting down the media commenting, and provide great example of a very important publisher like the New York Times, that are one of the few still keep media commenting, and has decided to not only maintain it but support it. So, for example, now they have a moderation team that use different form of automatic moderation and AI solution to help the moderation of their commenting sites. You may also be familiar with the rising and emerging startup, no more a startup anymore, called Open Web, which really provides an alternative for publisher to save online conversation and basically provide, again, a lot of AI solution or automatic solution for commenting, so that this vehicle of dialogue can be reopened between publisher and their readers. And you can see a lot all the different publishers that are support this. A second that has been used is the model, which is a very, I would say, cutting-edge, innovating French newspaper that really has created a space for citizens and journalists to come together in a real dialogue about public issues. What they have done, instead of using automatic moderation, is really changing the genre of a media article. So instead of being one authored piece, this becomes really a space for debate. So first of all, their news titles are phrased as a question. Like, for example, this one: shall we intervene militarily in Ukraine? And given then the topic, you have one first journalist that built the context of the problem. And this piece is only built to understand the origin of the problem, the different actors and context, relevant information to understand it deeply. Then you have a second part, which is the expert debates. You have now another two journalists that offer two pieces, one pro and one con of the problem questions, again providing expert view on the different arguments. And then you have the readers' debates, where really the readers are invited to add their own pro and con. And here really Letrange has experimented with the first argumentation-based discussion technology, which is not at all fancy like the one I showed you, but what I found really, really exciting is that they are widely used by hundreds, thousands of their readers, and they constantly report that with this new genre and with this very argumentation-based interaction, the civility of the conversations of the readers is not at all undermined by the fact that the media sites is open to commenting, and this without any type of automatic moderation. So these are all open questions for you. I hope I have convinced you that reinstating online media commenting would be really important and is an avenue to really use dialogue to improve trust between really journalists and their readers. The open question is, what does it take? What do we have to invent? How do we have to change journalism itself to enable this new, vital, respectful, creative space in which journalists and reader can come together to discuss very crucial problem for our society? And then really, can this dialogue dimension be a way to reinstate and reignite new trust in media? And who knows, even improve the engagement of citizens in general with journalism, which, as we know, is constantly decreasing. So that is my provocation. Thank you for listening, and if you want, these are my contacts.
Thank you to you, Anna. Very interesting presentation. And in fact, we received different questions. I'm not sure we will have time for everyone here, but we will read a couple of them and then we will send to you, okay? If you agree, of course.
Sure.
Elizabeth?
So the first question that we received by email is, in your opinion, what is the role of technology and artificial intelligence to fight disinformation in the following years? Do you think that artificial intelligence and technology will replace the role of fact checkers?
Oh, this is probably a much better question for our next speaker, but I will try my best to reply. So I think AI has lots of potential. It's often demonized for certain negative dynamics can generate. But actually, if well designed, can really improve how we, in a way, kind of explore information and kind of discover and assess for ourselves if a piece of evidence should be trusted or not. I don't really like the term fact-checking because deliberation and discussion is very, very, very few time is about facts. So AI maybe can detect what a true or false fact it is, but in the realm of journalism and public deliberation, we don't only talk about facts. We talk about opinion and the legitimacy of opinion in specific positional power situations. So I think AI can do a lot to improve the way in which we can make reasoned judgment on what piece of information we should trust or not. For me, the biggest potential that AI has is to support better, more transparent, large-scale analytics so that we can have hints of what data may be more or less trustworthy. But the decision of trust, I think, will always rely on the users. So yes, I think it can revolutionize what we do in media and discussion, but only if it's interpreted in this way as a sort of a tool to support critical thinking, sense making, and informing decision making, rather than automatizing decision, which is not, I think, the direction you should take.